You know, there's a market out there that makes the stock market look small. I'm talking about a place where trillions of dollars are flying around every single day. We're going to pull back the curtain on that world, the high-stakes game of global currencies, and meet the 8 power players that are really running the show. All right, let's get into it.
So let's just start with a number, a really big one. $7.5 trillion. I mean, what on earth could possibly be that big?
Well, that's how much money moves around the foreign exchange market, on average every day. It's this non-stop, 24/7 global dance of money. So the big question is, who are the lead dancers in this thing? Let's go meet them. Okay, so right at the very top of the food chain, you've got 2 currencies that just cast a massive shadow over everybody else. They're kind of like the twin suns of the financial universe, the benchmarks that everything else gets measured against. First up, no surprise here, the US dollar, aka the greenback. I mean, it's the home currency of the world's biggest economy, so it's the default for just about everything, from oil prices to international loans. But its most powerful job title is the world's primary reserve currency. You know, you can think of it as the planet's savings account. Central banks all over the world, from China to Brazil, they just stash away huge amounts of US dollars to keep their own economies stable. And that, right there, gives the US this really unique and powerful place in the world economy. And right behind it, nipping at its heels, is the dollar's biggest rival, the euro. This is the shared currency for a huge economic bloc. We're talking 21 countries in the Eurozone, and it's all managed by the European Central Bank, or the ECB, over in Frankfurt. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because there's a huge difference in their philosophies. The US Fed, it's juggling 2 big jobs at once. It wants to keep people working and keep prices stable. But the ECB? Oh no, they have a single-minded obsession: price stability. Job number 1, 2, and 3 is taming inflation. End of story. And that core difference is why their policies can sometimes go in completely opposite directions, sending these massive shockwaves through the entire global financial system.
So moving beyond those 2 giants, we get to what you could call the old guard. These are currencies with long, deep histories and really distinct personalities on the world stage.
First, let's talk about the Japanese yen. For decades, Japan has had these incredibly low interest rates, and that's given the yen this really unique role in something traders call the carry trade. So imagine this. You borrow money super cheap in yen, then you go invest it somewhere else where you can get a much higher return. That's the whole game. And the yen is often the currency that makes it all possible, which makes it a really fascinating and sometimes kind of unpredictable player. And then, of course, you've got the British pound, or cable, as traders call it. It's backed by the super historic Bank of England, and, the pound has this reputation for being a bit of a wild ride. It often makes much bigger, more volatile price swings in a single day than its calmer cousin, the euro. All right, let's move on to our next group, the specialists. These are currencies whose destinies are really tied to specific things. And then, we'll meet the powerful challenger that's trying to change the whole game. Okay, so some currencies just dance to a different beat. Take the Canadian loonie. It often moves almost in perfect lockstep with the price of crude oil. And its twin down under, the Australian Aussie, has this incredibly strong link to precious metals like gold and silver. It makes sense, right? Their whole economies are built on these natural resources, and their currencies tell that story loud and clear.
Next up, we have the Swiss franc, the world's ultimate safe haven. What does that mean? Well, when global markets get all choppy and everybody's panicking, investors from all over the world, they just flock to the franc for safety. And part of that legendary stability actually comes from its central bank, the SNB, which has this really unique structure that helps protect it from the day-to-day political drama. And now for the challenger that everybody has their eyes on, the Chinese Yuan. I mean, it's the currency of the world's second biggest economy, and its rise is totally reshaping the financial world. But what makes it so different is the amount of direct government control. Its central bank actually reports directly to the highest level of the state.
So, how does that control actually work in practice? Well, the yuan operates on what's called a managed float system. So, every single day, the central bank sets a target rate, and then the currency is only allowed to trade within this very, very narrow band around that target. It's a deliberate strategy, right? It's all about maintaining stability and control, which is a huge contrast to the free-for-all you see with the dollar or the euro.
Okay, so we've met the players, we've seen their playbooks. But you might be thinking, this is all just a big, abstract financial chess match. But the thing is, the moves in this game have a very real impact on your life.
And that really gets to the heart of why this stuff matters to you. This isn't just a game for Wall Street bankers. If you're an everyday investor, just understanding how these currencies work can open up brand new ways to grow your portfolio, especially when other markets are kind of just stuck.
And hey, even if you're not an investor, these swings and shifts, they show up right in your wallet. A really strong dollar could make that European vacation you've been planning way cheaper. But it could also make that imported coffee you love more expensive. See? This global money game has a direct phone line to your bank account.
So, we've seen the current champions and the rising challengers. But the question that really leaves us with is, who's going to dominate the next chapter? In this new world of digital currencies and shifting economic power, the only thing we know for sure is that things are going to change. The game is always on.